With just a snap, the card changes from black to red. Watch as the card melts from one card to another. With just the pass of a hand, the ace changes to a king. And with just a wave, the ace turns to a 7. These are called color changes, and they all start with the same move. All of these color changes start with a double lift. You can get into a double lift any number of ways. You can thumb count up to 2 cards and then catch a pinky break underneath like this. You can push off 2 cards like this and then catch your pinky break. Or you can pinky count down 2 cards and hold your pinky break like this. Then you just flip over 2 cards. What's important though is that you can do a double lift and that you can get 2 cards at once. If you're just getting started, I recommend literally just pushing off 2 cards to count them off and then catching a pinky break underneath. Don't stick your whole pinky in there, just the edge. That way from the front and the sides, it doesn't look too bad. Once you can comfortably get and hold a break underneath that second card, then you're ready to move on to the actual color changes themselves. The first one up is going to be the shapeshifter. For this, you're going to get started by catching a break underneath the second card from the top. However you got to do it is how you got to do it. Then you're going to take the top card only and flip it over. From here, you're going to take your thumb and your middle finger of your right hand, reach in and grab at the corners of the pips, but you're actually going to pick up both cards at the same time. From here, you're going to take your thumb and your middle finger of your opposite hand, reach underneath and grab the opposite corners and start building up tension. Pull down and release with your thumb first. It's going to be a bit finicky at first, and the newer the cards, the better this is, but you'll get the hang of it eventually. One thing I recommend with this is start by doing it without the rest of the deck in your hand. So pick up 2 cards and then reach over and just practice like this. So that way you get used to building tension and releasing it. Another tip with the shapeshifter is that once you've done the actual change itself, you want to go ahead and put the cards on the deck as soon as you can. You don't want to be sitting here holding 2 cards for too long, and you also don't want to be sitting here fiddling around with the cards for too long. Do 1, 2, snap, get it over with, place it, and then you can take this off, hand it to a spectator as you do a Charlier cut, whatever you need to do to clean yourself up. Another color change that's extremely similar to the shapeshifter is the wave change. With this, you just take a card, wave it a couple of times, and it changes. For this, you're going to start by getting your double, however you got to do it. Catch that break, lift the top card, flip it over, and again, take your thumb, middle finger of your right hand, switch this if you're left-handed, reach in at the corners with the pips, and pick up both cards at the same time so they are back-to-back like this. Notice where my pointer finger is though. Now, instead of bringing my other hand in, this hand can go and do whatever. I'm going to wave this hand back and forth, but as I'm doing that, I'm going to reach across with this pointer finger and just turn the card over just like that. I'm going to do this while I'm waving the card back and forth, so that way the big motion of my hand going back and forth covers the small motion of my finger, okay? Then same exact thing as with the shapeshifter. You want to clean yourself up however you can. As soon as it's done, pass this out to a spectator, whatever you need to do. And that is the wave change. One tip here is that the wave change is really all about the rhythm. You want it to seem natural. You don't want to be herky-jerky going back and forth. You want it to be natural and smooth. That way it just blends in. This is something that I have even gotten a couple of comments on. I turn my wrist a bit too much when I'm going through it. So you don't want to be doing that. You want it to be as subtle and little as possible. So natural big motion as it's going, just the finger, clear the way, clean up. Next up is the paintbrush change. Again, this one's going to start by getting your double lift, however you need to do it. But this time, you're actually going to pick up both cards at the same time. You're going to pick them up in an odd way though. You're going to pick them up from the inner edge and you're going to pinch it with your thumb and all 4 fingers across the back and hold the 2 cards together as tight as you can, just like this. Then you're going to press the card against and sweep it across a couple of times. So that way you're showing that's 1 card. Then as you come here, you're going to push with your thumb on your final pass, lift this thumb up to catch it, and pull off. And see how it's kind of sweeping like a paintbrush? That's where it gets the name, the paintbrush change. The finicky bit with this change is coming in with your double to make sure that it looks like it's only one card, and making sure that you have a firm enough grip, because oftentimes when you go to press it, they'll separate a little bit. You need to make sure that you have a firm grip with your thumb and the rest of your fingers. But if you have a firm enough grip, then it'll look good. Here the cleanup's even easier than the other color changes, because once you do the pass a couple of times and press this down, you can just Charlier cut. You don't need to pick the card back up off the table or back off the deck. Pass this out, put it wherever you need to. You're clean and you're good to go. A bonus color change that doesn't rely on the double lift is this, and it's called the erdnase change, named after S.W. Erdnase, the author of the best-selling and arguably most important card magic book to ever exist. If you aren't familiar, I highly recommend that you pick up a copy of this. I think it's over 100 years old at this point, but it is still practical and it is still important to this day. So if you're into card magic, check it out. But how do you do the erdnase change? The secret to the erdnase change is in your thumb and the palm of your opposite hand. As you go to reach over with your opposite hand, you're actually going to push forward with the thumb of your left hand, and see how that exposes this little bit of material here on the card? What you're going to do is take your palm and press it along that card and drag it out as you pull your hand back. Then you'll take your pointer finger, square this card up as you bring your hand back forward, and the card changes. A couple of notes on this. You don't want to push this card forward until your opposite hand is in view to block what you're doing. If you push the card forward too soon, you'll flash what this card is to the spectator. So wait till your right hand is in place to push this card forward. Then you push down and pull. You'll feel the card clear in there as you go. Here, let me demonstrate again for you. You'll push forward, and then as you pull here, you'll feel the card kind of spring free. Then see how you spread your fingers just like this? That way they have a window to see what's going on, and they see the same card the entire time. They see 4 of spades. That's the 9 of diamonds. So those are the couple of notes on that. Don't push forward until you have your other hand in place. You'll feel as the card moves underneath. And keep your fingers spread up top so that way they can see what's going on. This one is much harder to clean up than the other ones because the other card is facing the same way. So the way that you need to clean this up, if you're going to, is turn it down right away, then go for a one-handed cut or whatever, or just don't pass out the deck to the spectators at the end of that change. And as always, like and subscribe.